David did a fantastic job of actually covering the question set and the capabilities that we've been focused on, very similar around travel, remote work, cases, distribution of that information down through decision. So the Visier customer set that's in the application today, showing the various pieces. So David did a fantastic job of covering all of those things. We're seeing exactly the same kind of deployment of data use and distribution down decision makers within the Visier set. So I don't think I need to go deeper into that. What I did want to explore is something that people are focusing on at that next level. And David covered it with the data. It's like, how do I know where to focus? You know, a lot of people have never been through this. We know from sort of emotional response to panic that it tends to lock up decision making. This is where visualization, clarity about what all this means, not just where it is and how it looks, but what this means, is something that we're spending a ton of our time doing. I thought I'd show a few pieces from the app just to kind of double click on this. This is a trend. I am showing the trend of Spain's rate of change to the trend of the US rate of change. Same data set as David's talking about, but you can see is like, oh, you know, Spain's got it bad. We don't really need to worry over here in the US. We'll have churches open by Easter. It'll be all fine. I think that's telling a different story. And so, you know, how do you actually narrow it down to the information that you put in front of a decision maker, not an analyst per se, but an actual business person who's going to go, okay, I really need to do something. The second piece we're focusing on is like, so how is that risk changing? You know, we're talking to people globally, but we're also talking to people across the US. And everybody's kind of going, well, you know, New York's New York, but we don't really need to worry about anywhere else. And so, again, this is confirmed cases against rate of change, and the size of the bubble is the new confirmed cases. So very, very simply, if I have a certain volume of cases and I'm changing fast, and I have a lot of new cases, so there's a high volume, that means I'm in this top right-hand corner. And you can see New York's, like, everybody knows New York's way out there. What I think was compelling a bit from this that we showed was just who's coming up next. Like, and we know, like, no surprise, New Jersey, guess what? It's a neighbor to New York. That's probably okay. But very, very varying ranges of responses from these other states. And again, Washington, we're right on the doorstep with Washington up here in Vancouver. So we're seeing those kinds of pieces. And again, what we focused on is like, how does somebody gauge the risk? All of the responding that we're doing, the reset that Josh, I think, has just nailed it, brilliantly framed. All of that reset is dependent on the environment around you. Like, how big is the impact? I may have to shelter in place, but for how long, for how many, what does that all mean? And that's all driven by the progression of the pandemic locally. So again, we've focused on using the data, displaying it, helping decision makers access it, and then turn that into their response plans. And I just wanted to share this quickly. We got a lot more stuff to go through, so I will, you know, people know where this is if they want. They know how to get a hold of us. Appreciate the time and appreciate the input from other folks. I'll hand it back to you, Paul.